Hello and welcome back. So, last time we went over while loops. Now it's time to go over for loops. What is a for loop? It is something that is very much the same, but also very much different. So, I'm just going to run this module here in Python, and we'll see here are what these loops look like. So you see this is a loop inside of a range 10. This has happened. This is a loop from 1 to 11. This is a loop from 0 to 50 with an interval of 5. This is from 50 to 0 with a -5 interval. And this is a loop from 50 to 0 with a +5 interval. As you can see, the last one will not work. And we're going to go and we're going to make all those very easily, very quickly, and we're going to use it inside JDoodle. So, first and foremost, let me just delete all that, the base code that's already there. So, I'll just, print, something along the lines of, this is, the for loops mini project 1. There's really no special name for this guy, so that's okay. But, of course, remember to put your name in it and whatnot. And, of course, I'm just going to print out, this is an example. So, this is a for loop inside a range of 10. Now, what does that mean? That means I'm going to go from slot 0 to slot 10, right? Sorry. Didn't mean to cough. So, much like our good friend, if statements, and much like our good friend while loops, we have our own little bit of code that we have to type in. And for a for loop, all you have to do is type in for. And then, of course, for what? For what? Well, okay, here's where you can actually name a variable in a for loop. You don't have to go and say, var x. You don't have to say var x or something equals blah, 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 blah. You don't have to do that. You can just name it right inside the for loop. So I'll just say example1. Why not? Whoops, not example. Example. So for example1 in range. Now, we have a range. We're gonna just say it's a range of 10, right? So there's a range of 10. And at the end, put the colon, enter. And now as you see, it indents as well. So I'll just simply print example1. So see how this code right here? So for example1, so for a variable which is in a range of this, I'm just going to print everything that's inside of it. So if I just hit execute down here, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Because remember, what is the first slot? Slot 0. So we went 1, 2, 3, 4. We went 10 down, but the 10th value is not 10, it's 9. So remember, we're starting with 0. So, and then 10 up becomes 9. So, this is also once again reminding people that 0 is in fact a value. It is literally the first value. It is not nothing. It exists. So, if we want to fix this little problem, maybe I really do want from 1 to 10, well, I'll have to do something else instead, right? So this time I'll just, I'll print it out. I'll type it out normally. So this is a for loop inside a range of 1 to 11. And of course, as you notice, this is not currently orange because it's not a string. So let me just put the string, the quotes around left and right. Then of course, I'll this time do this one. So, want to delete that. There we go, for. And you know what, I'll just name this example 2. In range. Range of what? From 1, to 11. Oh, look, it's much like your random ints then, right? You have your random range versus your random ints. Same way you wound up doing those. And now this time I'll, print example 2. There we go. And now if I execute this, now you see, oh look, this is a for from 1 to 11, and it went 1 to 10. So we fixed it. We fixed our problem of not getting to 10. We didn't want 0. So there we go. That's nice and easy. So now you have your range, or you have starting point, end point. But now we're going to add something even more. We're going to go and print another thing. So this is a for loop from 0 to 50 with a, positive 5 interval. So, how do I do that? Well, let me just name this guy. Let me name this guy example 3. In range, and now we have our start point, we set 0, we have our end point, which is 50. If we add ourselves another comma, now we're going to make the intervals. So how fast do we want this to go up? Because if I were to do an interval of 2, it'll jump up every 2. So let me just execute that. Oops, what I invalid syntax? Oh, because I didn't print example 3 or anything like that. I also forgot my little colon. So there we go. So now, if I did this of an example of 2, see there's 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. It went up by 2 because I told it to, but I want a 5 interval, so let me just go with 5 instead. And I'll hit execute. And now I went 0, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45. It's going from 0 to 50 with a 5 interval. So, you have your start point, your end point, and then you have how much are you going up or down with each step. What's your interval? And of course, we can do the same thing in reverse. So if I were to say, this is a for loop from 50 to 0 with a negative 5 interval, well, we can do that as well. So, same thing. So for example 4 in range, and this time my start point is 50, my end point is 0, and this time it's going to be a negative 5 because I'm going to count down. And I'll just print, example 4. There we go, and I'll hit execute. And now you see on this one we're going 50, 45, 40, 35, 30, 25, 20, 15, 10, 5. It started at 50, it's going down to 0 with a negative 5 interval. Now, of course, as you notice, once it reaches that end point, it's not actually going to print that last little thing. So this is one of those situations where if you really want to see the 0, you'll have to, make a negative 1 or something, execute it, and then now you'll be able to see the 0. So it's like how in those while loops, if you printed it before you did your counter change, it would look different than if you did the counter change before you printed. So same sort of situation. We just have the counter, and we just have the counter already in there by default inside the question as well, so we don't have to make the counter. The counter is right there in the interval. And of course, if we have no counter at all, it assumes the counter is just going 1, 2, 3, 4. It's going up by 1. A for loop has an internal counter. That's what makes it different from a while loop. And of course, if we try to make ourselves a infinite loop with a for loop here, so this is a let me remember to actually type in the quotes here. This is a for loop from 50 to 0. So we're going down, right? We're going from 50 to 0 with a positive 5 interval. So, in this sort of situation, what would happen? So if we're going from 50 to 0, it's going to go 50, 55, 60, 65, 70, 75, 80, it will never hit 0. So by all definitions and logic, this example 5 should be, when I do my start point, my end point, and my positive interval, my positive interval, in all seriousness, this should be an endless loop, right? So now when I execute it, it flat out won't even do it. It recognizes that it is an endless loop, and it won't do it. So I'm just going to, simply print a statement that says, as you can see, it will not work. Or something like that. So now we know we got it. It will not work. There we go. We have now gone through how to make some for loops. We've done it 1, 2, 3, 4 different ways working, and 1 way purposely not working. We've done 5 different types of for loops. Once you get all this the way it's supposed to be, please save your project, submit it through the mini project 1 of this week, and then I will see you in the next video.